Okay, welcome back everybody to episode 3 of Fireheart, our summer story from Free League's Seasons of Mystery in our Vaesen game. When we last left our investigators, a plan was hatched, and throwing conventional wisdom to the wind, they have decided to split the party. But that's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great, right? No worries. Everything's going to work out perfectly, right, guys?
Double the story. That's exactly what we want.
Let's see here. Trish and Tatiana are going to make a side entry onto the ironworks. And if I remember right, it has something to do with like a counter revival meeting to challenge that of the revival meeting that is in theory going to happen later tonight from Beta, Gideon's daughter. And then Edvard and Ernst were going to knock on the front door. Remind me, we're investors.
Yes. Yes, Edvard is an investor and Ernst is the surveyor working with him.
Outstanding. Cool. I think we're going to start with Edvard and Ernst. As I went through last time, very much reminiscent of the Moreland Society camp. The environment is heavily impacted by the presence of the ironworks. These ironworks have been here for 10 years. A good deal of the local forest has been deforested for the making of charcoal, and the constant going of the blast furnace and the charcoal kiln have just layered the entire region in a layer of ash and soot. And the ore crushing machine that's being driven by the river is constantly grinding and pounding. So there is a very strong visual but also audio industrial element to the region. It's not like super loud, like you have to yell out over it like you kind of had to back in Denmark, but it's definitely, if you're saying to yourself, it'd be really hard to for somebody to notice you sneaking around, like if you accidentally like stepped on a tree branch, would be really good for you. And then you also say to yourself, wow, I don't think I could hear anybody sneaking up on me either. maybe knocking on the front door was a good idea. But that's the kind of the environment that you're entering into as you make your way to the bridge. I think you still have the maps, yes?
Yes.
You need me to read? Okay, cool. So for as far as the map that you have, you're coming from the north, and you're coming up on the bridge. And as you are making your way up to the bridge, a couple of ore boys who are working in the various different buildings sort of notice you and begin to make their way over to you. Let me go ahead and put the map up for the audience. The map of the Herod Ironworks, just so that they too can kind of see where we are at. So there's the sawmill, and then the smithy, and a couple of ore boys sort of like see you walking up, and one of them like baps the other guy in the shoulder and kind of gestures at him, and he takes off in an opposite direction. And then the ore boy who kind of gave the instructions starts to walk up and over the bridge towards you.
By the way, Jerry, I think before we have done this, we probably would have come up with fake names.
Oh, absolutely. That is what a competent individual would do.
Yeah, I just thought of it. I was like, ooh. So I have this handy dandy Swedish name generator. And I came up with Alexander Dahlin and Sten Gustafsson.
All right. Do you have a preference?
I don't. Which one would you like?
I think I'll be Sten.
Okay, I'll be Alexander.
There we go.
Here.
You are Alex. I am Sten.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's the name.
Names I have to remember. Hang on here a second.
Here, I'll put the names in there so you can.
No, I gotta write them down so they're in front of my eyeballs.
Yeah,
and then
I know. And
Ernst is Sten.
I am Sten.
Okay,
Yep.
Cool. All right, there we go.
Thank you, Internet and name generators.
Is there a way to look up the images that you've posted in the chat? They're not there anymore for me.
Yes, there is down right-hand side, kind of low, a thing for images.
I see images. It's just, it looks like it's like every single image.
So it's every image that has been shared with us, and unfortunately, sometimes the file names are formatted slightly differently, which makes it extra fun.
Cool. All right, good enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So the ore boy comes up to the bridge, kind of into yelling distance, and he yells out or shouts out as he's walking towards you. All right, what are you two doing here?
Good sir. My name is Alexander Dahlin. This is my associate, Stern Gustafsson. And I am an investor, and I am looking to, well, I've heard many great things of this enterprise, so I am searching for, GM, what was the name of the guy again?
August.
August
Herenstam.
August Herenstam. Sorry. A player with a bit more capability would have actually prepared this.
I don't know what you mean by good sir. I just work here. You should stay here. The boss is gonna want to meet you.
Very good.
Alex.
Yes, I do go by Alex as well.
Right. What are you wanting to do here? This place is not for the likes of you. You're too fancy.
Well, I am here to observe the modern systems that your employer employs to hopefully franchise this operation, to expand it all across Sweden and the world.
I know what across the world is. I guess that's what franchise means. Okay. I don't know. Do they have lakes with ore in them all across the world?
Yes, they do. And usually people don't tend to mine on lake beds. It is an open market, you see.
Well, that's where the ore is. It's at the bottom of the lake, and we scoop it up.
I see.
This entire time, Ernst has a notebook out and is just making a show of observing and writing, and he is just writing nonsense right now.
Perfect. I think that's what Edward would have told you. It's like it's just an administrative position to make the land measure the land. We don't have the actual tools, so hopefully they aren't too skeptical.
Where'd you guys come from?
Ernst just does not stop writing and acts as if a question has not been asked.
We come from Stockholm.
On foot?
Well, boy, as you can tell, the environment around here is rather harsh. So the tavern over that way was as far as a carriage was willing to take us, no matter how much we paid him.
Well, I'm afraid you're probably gonna have to walk all the way back when you're done here. There ain't no place for you to board. And across the bridge, you see a small group of people like aggressively striding towards you. One of them looks like the other ore boy who was sent to fetch whatever it was he was sent to fetch. One of them is a mountain of a human, taller than everyone else around him, broader than everyone else around him, who, even from the distance that you're seeing him as they're coming out of the map says the director's villa. It's obviously the nicest house, even though it's covered in soot. And then with the physique of, the classic strong man, not really like cut muscularly, but just barrel chested and, giant rolling arms and just mountain of a human. And then you see another person kind of even more agitated than the other two, kind of like leading the group. You see a man, hard to get a beat on exactly what he looks like yet, but curiously, even though it's the middle of the day, he's carrying a lantern with him. He's carrying a lit lantern with him. You can see, which is odd because of the distance that you're at, he's got a lit lantern. And the ore boy talking to you sees that you pick up on the others, and he turns and he says, "Oh, good. The boss is coming. I'm not one to do most of the talking. Sometimes you just gotta do the job that you're given, right?"
Quite so, good sir. Quite so.
Anyway, that's the boss. And the big guy is swine. Don't. And he looks at you, Edward, because I'm assuming you're armed, right?
Yeah.
And he looks at Edward, and I wouldn't try anything. Just saying.
Oh, these are just for intimidation of the brigands of the road.
There are a number of them out there, that is for sure. Some of them get the hint and they come here for work, and some of them just leave. At that point, you kind of hear from the other side of the bridge, "Hello!" And the person who's waving sort of shouts at you. Let's give you all a formal introduction. to August Herenstam. There we go. No, nothing strange here. There's the audience. There's for my party members. You immediately recognize the family resemblance to
His brother.
Alfred. I'm sorry?
His brother.
To his brother. He is heavily built. As you can see in the image, boasting a splendid beard. As he gets closer, you kind of see Edward and Ernst that, like, it's hot out, right? And everybody's, like, kind of sweating, but he's sweating. He's got a permanent sheen of sweat on his forehead. And his suit, while sooty, and as he gets closer, charred at some parts on his body. It's a nice suit. He is carrying as I already said, a burning lantern. And then what really kind of, you heard Alfred say it, and you kind of pictured it in your mind. But even now, as he's there, his eyes are gold. They're not brown, golden brown, auburn, with just a sheen. The light's not catching it weird. His eyes are gold. Den.
Ah, you must be August, the owner of this establishment. Thank you. It is such a pleasure to meet you.
And he walks up with his non-lantern hand, and he reaches out and says, "Yes, I am Mr. Herenstam, and you might be."
My name is Alexander Dolan. Sorry for the sudden intrusion. I am an investor. You see, I represent Dolan and Brothers, investment firm up in Stockholm. And we caught wind of the mighty successful operation you've been running here. Oh, it is glorious.
Investors, you say? Of the Dolan?
Yes, the Dolan Brothers.
Oh, okay. Oh, excellent. And what is it exactly that you're down here for? Our operation does not need any investment capital.
Well, you see, I have been all around the world, and one thing I have noticed, good sir, is a franchise opportunity when I see one.
Franchise, you say? I don't believe I've ever heard this term before.
Oh, it's quite simple and very lucrative for you. You see, what you do is, what we want to do is, we want to take what you do here and apply it to various lakes, rivers, ponds, various areas that are underexploited for mineral gain. And we wish to capitalize on that real estate with the advances that you have made here at your wonderful area.
Well, I definitely like the sound of that. I suppose that there's no harm in talking a little bit about that, what that might look like. This is all very sudden. I was not expecting you today.
We apologize. The post office said that there was an interruption in delivery.
I can understand that. This
and
region has fallen on hard times, so to speak, but not here at our ironworks.
Exactly, which is why I am already liking what I am seeing.
Interesting. Well, I don't suppose. And he starts to hesitate about what he's going to say next, maybe something that will tip this conversation in your favor. He's sort of wavering. He wants to pick up what you're putting down, but he probably needs one more little thing.
Okay.
And Edward, you can see that. You can see that you need to say, like, oh, he's this close.
Is that close? So even though, as you can tell, I am from the business world, does Edward notice what I'm missing from saying?
No, I think that he's just very hemming hawing about like moving you onto the campus, the ironworks. Okay, he's kind of like looking back over at the blast furnace, and he's kind of looking around like, well, this sounds very interesting, but.
And now, it is very low risk to you, and I understand that this is a sudden intrusion, and this is more of a initial investigation while I take a look around, see what you're doing, and since you're already so profitable.
We are in, as you would say, the research stage.
Go ahead and make a manipulation check here. Let's see if you can.
We picked the wrong person to do this.
It's all right.
Actually, no. This is actually a fairly decent stat of mine.
Oh,
I got 3 successes. Jesus.
Oh, yes, we picked the wrong person to do this.
I forgot
Kicks
that
ass.
part of the officer's duty is to manipulate his soldiers into dying for their country.
Yes. Yeah, the research. Yes, that makes sense. You would want to see what we're doing here, and I guess yes, swine. And the big man just towering behind. Well, towering behind. You should get a look at. You should get a look at swine here really quick. You should have a good look at the person who is sitting. Let's give our studio audience an opportunity to check out swine here for a second. There
Poor man.
He has
with a name like Swine, I wasn't expecting anything less.
Swine, get the boys back to work and let them know that we have important guests here. They should be on their best efficiency and best work ethic. Show them what we here at the Herod Ironworks can do. And Swine just nods his head and just, the vocalized grunt and starts to thump off as you can hear his footsteps on the bridge, just tunk, 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 tunk. The other Orboids are like perk up and they're like, right, boss, and they zoom over the bridge also to get back to work. And with his non-lantern hand, does the general sweep as he turns around, arm wave across his holdings. As you can see, we have a very, very successful, industrious site. We provide iron in its highest quality to industry all across Sweden. Herod Ironworks is at the forefront of providing modern Sweden with the raw materials that she needs to boldly venture into a new century. Very rehearsed line that you can kind of tell he's said a number of times. And as he's walking over the bridge, he begins to talk about that they have withstood the economic downturn of the region, that they are one of the few employers in the region. He talks about how they provide for all of the workers. They have housing here and food here, and we even take care of their spiritual needs too with an on-site Christian minister. We have everything here, and he kind of like looks over his shoulder at you, Sten, assuming that you're taking all of this down.
Still writing down.
And he's like, yes, my words literally are worth writing down. Let's go.
And we run a self-sufficient operation.
And he walks by the saw, walks by the mill, explains the saw is where they process the lumber that comes from the forest. The saw, the mill further, the lumber that's deemed for building and such gets finalized at the mill. If it's not going to be used for building, it gets cut up into pieces for the charcoal kiln. You walk by the smithy, and in this smithy building, you can see that there are things that are being made or repaired, tools on site that are being maintained, whether it's a wagon wheel or whether it's blast furnace machinery or whatever. There are a couple of people working at a smaller furnace who are doing the work of maintaining this site. The blast furnace and the cast house further back, he doesn't take you to right away, but he does point to them and says, there's where the magic happens. We have between the blast furnace and the cast house, we can produce enough quantity of cast iron and pig iron to meet all of our orders. As long as the iron continues to come in from the lake, we will continue to provide for our customers the highest quality material that we can provide.
It is our understanding that you have increased business while the rest of the economy here has
over the last 10
languished.
years, it's been up, 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 up. Plenty of productivity and plenty of money received. Plenty of profit, too.
I would be most interested in seeing your financials.
Well, I suppose further on down the road, if this business agreement goes the way I think it should, we'll be more than happy to share our numbers. But first, a refreshment, wouldn't you say? Let me take you to the one island of hospitality and coolness to beat the heat. And he walks past the blast furnace towards the director's villa. Meanwhile, I don't know where on the map this is happening, but somehow you've probably crossed the river. Maybe, I don't know. Trish and Tatiana, you're sort of.
The idea Tatiana has is she wants their setup to be within view of the ironworks, but not to be intruding on their property.
That's kind of the idea that I had in my brain as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So paint me a picture, will you? What does Tatiana and Trish's counter revival what does this look like? I mean, what is it? Just what are we doing here?
So first, Tatiana is going to see what Trish brought with them in terms of fireworks or like bright fabrics or things that they can use to kind of gather attention. And then she's going to try to bribe a bottle of some type of liquor off of Alfred, because what better way to make people come into their revival camp than offer libations?
I think Alfred would have given you what he had if he knew this was going to help get August back. Yeah.
And so she's going to put her refreshing herbal brew into the whiskey or the rum, whatever he had on hand, kind of give it that herbal infusion to make it even better. And then she's just kind of going to be swirling it around and looking at what Trish has and being like, well, we could always start singing. I don't know. What do you think? Can you do the fire trick, or was that something only your brother could do?
Oh, I could do all kinds of fire tricks. I think you have a great singing voice. I'll bring out the harmonica. I'll do some dancing. Is it too much to ask for a broken wheel? Like, I'm looking for just the ring of the wheel, like no spokes with inside of it.
There would have been busted carts and wagons and such on the at the farmstead when you were leaving Alfred's and you're looking around going, what can we use? You would have been able to have taken some materials off of the farmstead. Yeah.
Perfect. Can I set it on fire?
I mean, it's hot enough, sure.
Yeah, and juggle it around. Not yet, but when we get there, you know.
Like juggle the wheel, or are you taking the wheel apart? You're taking like wheel spokes? I mean,
yeah, hopefully it's one that's already been busted. You know, I don't want to take a piece of good equipment. I want to take, basically, I'm just looking for a ring of wood.
Yeah.
Maybe I could put some kind of, like lighter fluid. What would they use lighter fluid like back then? Would be like alcohol.
Alcohol.
You know, like douse it in some alcohol.
Yeah.
And set it on fire. And my idea is that I'm going to be juggling it in one hand. The other hand, I'm going to be balancing the harmonica and like tossing it in the air and doing stuff like that.
Outstanding. Okay. So that's the performance side. And Tatiana, you said you were supporting the performance?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
But this, like, Trish's goal is to get the attention on Tati, so Tati can can really charm them. I mean, I'm charming them too, but like we're trying to counteract the bewitching of this lady.
Yeah. No, I get it. Let's see here. Dang. Okay, so Trish, to do all of this and not get horribly burned and attract people's attention, this will undoubtedly be some type of precision, probably. And the closest thing I think to precision that we can get for that is going to be stealth.
Okay.
And then Tatiana, what were you doing again? I'm sorry.
So it's the end of the day, and Tatiana's
kind of in the middle of the day.
Oh, we're in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, we're in the middle of the day. So luring these people away from work after they've been told to be on their top behavior is probably not going to go well, but we're going for this anyway. She is going to sing, and she's going to appeal to their working class. And I can roll first, or I can sing first, whatever you prefer.
Well, we're gonna do both rolls. So I've got a precision roll, stealth from Trish, probably a manipulation roll from Tatiana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So you're kind of at the edge of the camp. You have not gone unnoticed. There are definitely some people who are walking by. Let's see, if you're where I think you are, you're probably back where people are moving stuff from the cast house to the slag pile. So you see this, the slag pile. As you're setting up, let's talk about what you can see. So you can see the back of the cast house. You can see that it's integrated with the blast furnace, and you can see that that's where there is, you can almost see it because of its bright color. You can see molten iron moving from the blast furnace into the casting house. And even from here, there's something very sparkly in the sunlight about the slag pile. It's very, it's shiny in every sense of the word, shiny. And that's kind of as you're setting up, that's what's garnering your attention a lot as you're looking at the back end of the yard works. I think the only other thing that you can see from there is you can see the back of the barn and the back of what you believe to be are the workers' quarters, as people are going in and out of there, as well as going in and out of the casting house and dropping stuff. And, of course, ultimately dropping stuff off at the slag pile. Yeah. Okay. So, let's do a couple of rolls. We've got a stealth roll. We got a manipulation roll. As Tatiana and Trish start, the Tatiana and Trish counter revival.
I'm trying to see if I have any items I can use for the stealth. Matrix 1+ stealth when trying to make something disappear. Nope, never mind. Not trying to make anything disappear.
There's a success. Awesome.
No, better than nothing.
You not horribly burn yourself on a spinning fire wheel of death?
Not again. Burn me once, shame on me.
Wow. What the hell?
Holy
What
smokes!
the hell?
What?
I'm gonna roll so many failures after
Is
this.
that dress? Damn, that's a nice dress, Tati.
A couple of people come out of the cast house to drop stuff off at the slag pile, and they're watching this display, the song and dance, and they kind of look at each other, and then they look back, and then like one of them leaves the slag pile to walk towards you while the other one goes back into the casting house. And then in a minute, 3 more people come out. One of them you recognize, the first guy, and he's kind of pointing at you two. And the other 2 kind of look at each other and look back at the first guy, and they're all like nodding their heads. And they walk over as well. 4 of these ore boys from the cast house basically walk away from their job to come over to you, and they get to within range of what is clearly the song. Tatiana, do you happen to know the general gist of this song?
Oh, you're not gonna let me sing a verse? I'm so sad.
Do you want to sing it?
Yes.
Okay, you're that ready. Okay, let's do this. Hit me with your dulcet
Here we go.
tones.
Okay. Hold on. I don't want to make a scene. Don't need no spotlight to shine on me. What I got, I didn't get for free. Like my back and I skinned my knees. Working hard just to stay alive. Don't need much, just enough to survive. Make a little money, make a little love, get a little help from the Lord above. Make a little money, make a little love, get a little help from the Lord above. And it's all about the working class. But yeah.
Incredible. And I'm playing the harmonica along with this, so we can use that bonus.
Outstanding.
So I get them to leave work by singing about them being hard workers. Yep.
It's either that or 9 to 5.
They don't even like, as they come up, they just sit. They just kind of form a semicircle, like 6 feet, 5 feet off, kind of that distance where you know that you're close enough to hear and be a good audience. Well, maybe a little bit further away. But also, just in case Trish loses control of the wheel, no one gets horribly, But they do work at a cast house, so I guess they probably aren't that afraid of fire. And when you get done with your song, they just kind of... And then the kind of the clapping kind of like dies off, and they're just sitting there. And then finally, like, they kind of look at each other, like, one of them says, That was really nice, ma'am. Do you have another song?
I've got something better. And she's going to turn to Trish because this is kind of something that Tati always dreamed of doing, which is performing with Trish. And so it's just like the 2-person show. And so it's like you saw them spin fire. I sang a song. Now watch Trish do this.
Trish throws the fire ring up in the air and does like a backflip, and then catches it like with their feet and kind of like is handstanding and like, I don't know, like balancing with their legs and like.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I've never seen anything like that before. Oh wow. Who are you? What are you doing here? You should be somewhere like making money and stuff, and like this is the sort of thing like rich people would pay to see.
Fuck rich people. Hey, do you guys want a drink?
And
We're
again,
just looking for a good time.
like as if this scene wasn't as unbelievable enough, they like look at each other and like a real drink.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with herbs, so even though it's gonna burn going down, you're gonna feel so refreshed after a sip.
And they kind of like look at each other. What is Beta gonna say? Beta can't say about something Beta doesn't know about. I don't know. She'll probably find out. She'll get really mad. Guys, like, live a little. And so the one guy who seems really interested in this stands up and he says, "I would love a drink, ma'am."
All right.
And kind of like the brave penguin off the ice floe, the other four are watching him intently like, is he really going to do it? Is he jumping off the ice floe?
Jump.
Okay.
Do it.
So Tatiana's going to have 2 cups.
Yeah.
And pour the 2 shot glasses. And then, just because Tatiana is extra as fuck and she wants to make this as much of a show as possible, she's going to be like, now this, don't tell your beloved Beta, is known as a lover's shot. She's going to wrap their arms together so that she's pulling the drink up to her mouth and he's pulling it up to his, but their arms are interlinked.
Yeah.
Ready? Go. And she'll take the shot with him.
Absolutely downs the shot. He absolutely downs the shot. Does he have to roll anything?
No, he just has to let her manhandle his arm.
Okay. Good. I just didn't know if you're gonna poison one of my old boys or not.
I know. I was like, what is she giving them? Oh my
right?
God. What am I contributing to?
This is just the same thing that was in the tea. It's just now in alcohol instead.
And he finishes the drink, and seeing that he's taken the shot, and also that a very, very nice young lady has linked arms with him and taken the shot, the other 4 just spring right up.
She
I would love a drink, ma'am.
She kisses his cheek before she turns to the next one and repeats this with each of them.
Trish, Tati's face is now a little sooty and schmutzy as she has picked up a fair amount of carbon off of this first ore boy. I don't know if Tatiana knows, but Trish does.
I'll definitely like go up to Tati and just be like, "Oh, sweetie, you got something on your."
All right. So it is the the drawing room of the villa house. Ernst and Edward. I'm sorry, Alex and Sten. You've been brought to the villa. It's a very nice home. It's 2 stories. The front doorway is a hallway. That one door heads to a flight of master stairs straight ahead. One way is what's clearly a dining room. The other way is a drawing room. And it's that drawing room that you've been taken into. And August does the usuals. Let's have a drink to our prospective and mutually beneficial partnership. And he shouts, Butler, bring us some drinks. And he sits down in the drawing room's got, one wall's got bookshelves, one wall's got the windows out, one wall's got a fireplace not lit. There is a central like coffee table. There's a number of chairs around the coffee table, and he sits down in one of the chairs and he gestures to the others. Please sit.
Yeah, I sit.
Yeah, I sit, notebook still in hand, still just going. Honestly, it looks like it's Tati doing her automatic writing, but I am just jotting down everything that comes to mind. We're going to get some real stream of consciousness Ernst after this.
So, I've told you a little bit about myself. I've shown you a little bit about what's my ironworks. Tell me a little bit about Dalen Brothers.
Yes. We were born and raised in
Stockholm. I'm sorry, not the biography. I'm interested in the business.
Of course. I see by the glint of your eye that you are quite the savvy businessman.
Well, you have to be in these hard times.
Oh, of course.
It's the impending boom of German industry that has us always on the forefront. Now that they're a country, they have full control of their resources. I predict in a few years they'll be a major player too. So we have to be savvy and stay on top of things if we are going to continue to be as profitable and beneficial to our country. You know this.
Exactly. We are in agreement. So we are an investment firm. We come from old royal adjacent line, and we have been taking an interest, as you have seen, and traveling the world. I've had an interest in traveling the world and seeing the new wonders of this century. And honestly, when I look back at my home, I see such unexploited resources. There's so much here, so many resources that are just under our grip that we could just grab if someone had the courage, the foresight to do so. And that's what I have been looking for. I have been looking for men of industry to help boost Sweden to the tops.
I have to admit, I have not really thought about outside of the country, and I feel like my customers are satisfied with my product, but the idea of boosting to a point where I could really go abroad, I suppose
Yes.
that's something that would be definitely worth looking into. And how is it that you do this? How do you make your money work?
It's quite simple, really. We
If I may explain, sir.
Yes.
Our model is, as Mr. Dalen said, a franchise operation. We have recently had success exporting railroad technology and expertise to the modernization of Jutland. Getting railways through the swamps. Your role in this would be to provide expertise, to provide skilled laborers with technical know-how to train the new local workforce, and we would provide the capital to establish a new operation abroad. And we would also provide the legal expertise and logistics to ensure maximum profitability. You have done quite well with this operation here, so we don't foresee any issues expanding and emulating your successful operation across countless countries.
Well, I am not 100% certain I know if I can be of... Oh, you see, I am, as you know, a businessman, and I have to take care of mine and mine first. I have certain technologies, certain... What's the word I would... Certain ideas.
Proprietary.
Proprietary.
Secrets.
That's the new term for it. I'm not 100% certain I can outsource that. There are certain things I keep close to my chest. What happens if someone steals my ideas? What happens if somebody copies it in another country? What is it that you can do to help me protect this?
Edward's expression kind of darkens a little bit and just be like, I am, was a former member of the military, and I have quite a few contacts there and in various other militaries to enforce trade secrets and silence those who get in the way of progress and profit.
Is Edward wearing his uniform?
No, but he is wearing. He's wearing a nice thing, but you can tell that he's actually wearing like.
Yeah.
He actually has a chainmail thing on under his
right
jacket, and he is wearing his officer's sword and pistol. And it's like, I know at the gate I appeased one of your workers by telling the poor boy that this was more for show for bandits, but another side of our business has been
that is why
mercenary, you might say.
Anything to protect one's own property. Exactly. I like that indeed. As Edward and August are having this moment of, we agree to pay people to fight off competitors by hook or by crook, Ernst, out of the corner of your eye, you catch walking by the doorway, not stopping, but looking in. You pick up on a woman. A woman who clearly is in evangelical garb. A woman who is young, but whose face is hardened to the environment. I suspect the hard work that she has done. Most notably, as she walks by, you see the flare of gold in her eyes, and for a brief moment she looks in on the work that's happening and sees you, and then just walks off again. What catches your attention beyond the gold eyes and the look on this woman's face is her hands constantly in front of her chest, constantly manipulating a gold medallion of sorts, few inches across in diameter. And that's the image that you see of this woman just kind of by the doors. What other businesses have you been? Tell me about your past successes. What are the businesses that you've invested in before? What have I heard of before? I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of your investment firm, and if it's been around for as long as it has, I would think I would have heard of it. But if you are working behind the scenes, maybe you can give me the names of some of the folks that you've helped bring to prosperity and profitability.
I am sure that Edward, being upper crust, would know.
You rattle off a couple of names of some industries that have provided, whether it's munitions or firearms or vehicles or construction or whatever for the military. I suspect that if there was such a thing as an military industrial complex in 19th century Sweden, I suspect that the officers would have some understanding of what that would work. Well, that sounds marvelous. It all sounds marvelous. I have work to do. I wasn't expecting guests today, but I noticed that you don't have transportation. How did you get here?
And
you reiterate what you told the orb boy before.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, look, we had arranged a cart, but he refused to go any further. Something about this accursed heat and man of no courage.
Cool. Roll a manipulation check. Pretty please, chili cheese.
Oh, a baby.
I would love to help you, but this was so... As he's starting to think about reasons to not invite you to stay.
Okay, there we go. I was trying to save these for combat, but this is actually one we need.
But
This is social combat.
I'm so intrigued to learn more, and we did talk about looking at the financials. And seeing as you two have to walk all the way back to that wretched little village, why don't you stay here at my place tonight?
That is a capital idea, sir.
Yeah, I thought so. I have work to do, but please feel free to walk the grounds. I'll make certain to have a tour guide with you.
Of course.
I must insist, however, because you understand that we're at the opening stages of this and I can't show you all my cards just yet. Please stay either here in this drawing room until we call you to dinner, or feel free to walk the grounds. Obviously the workers' quarters, give the men their privacy if you truly need to walk through bunk beds and foot lockers. But most of this house, I'm afraid, is off limits. And then he kind of leans back away from you so he's not yelling right at you, and he says, "Swine!" And from around the corner, blocking the doorway, "These fine gentlemen have permission to see our ironworks. Keep them safe." And then you hear from Swine, "Urgh."
And as a token of good faith, he snaps at Ernst, who is actually
Sten.
Sten. And Edward would have told Ernst, like, hey, if I do this, hand me this. And like Edward actually put like some money that he brought with him, which equates to 3 things of...
Yes.
And I will take one of the 3 that we had left over and give it to him as a token of good fortune for our future partnership.
And he just snatches it out of your hand. He says, "Of course, a little bit of grease on the wheels, so to speak. I understand. Well, I will be on my way. I have work to do." He stands up. I assume that Alex stands up, shakes his hand, says, "I will see you at dinner, promptly at 4. And he strides out of the room. Swine kind of opens up a little bit to let August by, and then kind of like, sort of like, is about ready to like close the gap again, and then remembers that you two are also probably going to want to leave. So he opens back up again. Meanwhile,
thank you, good sir.
Yeah,
You said your name was Swine.
Yeah, that's my name.
Do you prefer another name at all, good sir?
No.
Okay. I figured it would have been an insult to you to be referred to Swine, which is why I was asking. It's always good to get on the side. It's always been my particular business.
Let's just go.
Stop talking to me, please.
A man of action, I love it. And he goes.
Edward and Ernst, I assume, are going to stride out to check out the facilities. Meanwhile, Tatiana and Trish, you have a little circle around you. They've each had their shot, and I'm assuming their kiss.
Yep.
As you're going through this, one of them says finally, "We're going to get in so much trouble with Beta. Not if no one tells her." And that's kind of seems to be at the forefront of their thinking right now.
Yeah. Trish will pitch in too, like, What Beta don't know? Beta won't hurt her. Whatever.
See, that's what I was saying.
Take another shot.
And Tatiana will lean in and be like, I don't know. I feel like our revival party might be more fun than Beta's. What do you think?
This is a
I'm having fun.
This is a revival party?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
This ain't like any revival I've ever been to.
Don't you feel revived though? Have another shot.
Like, clearly everybody's had one. The person who stood up first is probably like, yes, have another shot. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the others are a little bit more hesitant, and some of them are like, maybe I'll have a sec. It'd be rude to say no. You could really see they're having a hard time, though, with like most of them are having a hard time. No, this ain't like any revival I've been to. The revivals I've been to, why, Miss Beta, she just yells at us for 30 minutes.
Well, tell you what time's your next revival with Miss Beta?
Tonight after supper?
Why don't we come back after supper? We'll be on the other side of your camp, and you can bring some more people to see what they think of our revival party.
And even the one who's like, that was the first to like take the shot, kind of like, oh, I don't know about that, ma'am. Miss Beta, she's real fiery and she's real good at making us feel the spirit.
What? More fiery than me? And I set my wheel on fire again.
That is quite fiery, ma'am, but no, the kind of fire she talks about is the kind of fire that waits people who do bad things, who go against the way, who don't walk the path. That kind of fire, the waiting for them, the kind of fire that makes what we do here look like a little campfire.
Oh, I don't know. And Tatiana, who's modified her dress quite a bit, like she's pinned it up to look a little bit more.
Are you showing some ankle, Tatiana?
Oh, she is definitely showing ankle. She's like, you guys work with fire every day. Why not celebrate the hard work you do, as opposed to waiting for the hell that's going to come after death?
That celebration is the toil. That's what Miss Beta tells us. All the toil and the moil, all day and night. That is our celebration. That is our path to salvation.
Well, I don't know about you, but Trish and I, our motto has always been work hard. She's going to turn to Trish.
Play harder.
That sounds wonderful, but like, aren't you worried about what happens next?
Well, sometimes what happens next is what you make of it.
Well, and they're just stumped by that. They're just
Dumbfounded.
Why fear the fire when we're already sweating buckets and you guys are building fire every day? Why not rejoice in it?
Are you saying rejoice in everlasting damnation?
No.
No.
I'm saying instead of fearing the fire, rejoice in the fact that you are living in it and making your living from the fire, from the river, or from Lake Herod. Don't live in fear of what's to come. What's to come will come.
But are you saying, ma'am, that I don't have a choice? I don't have free will? It's just going to happen?
No,
No. The opposite. You have more choice than you understand.
I'm saying why be yelled at tonight and told about the fire of hell when you could cut loose and dance and celebrate a little bit tonight? Have a couple more drinks. Why do you need to be yelled at? You already know what's coming.
Because I still have to go to work tomorrow. We all have to go back to work tomorrow, and if Miss Beta knows that we weren't there, and they know where we were at. Who knows what she would do to us? Who knows what Swine would do to us?
We could just have it for the half hour in between. So you guys were feeling sick, and so you guys decided to stay home in the bunkhouse. We'll just be telling stories.
We could go and all pretend to be sick and then leave. Well, we don't have to go. We could just, like she said, we could just stay in our cots and say we don't feel good. That's... Will she know? Well, if we just... Well, I mean, maybe. They'll let us call in sick when we're really sick. Well, they'll send somebody, won't they? Not if they're all at the revival meeting. Okay. Yeah, we'll call in sick.
Okay.
Back
So
here?
Yeah. Or do you want us to come to your bunkhouse? Do you think somebody could come get us?
Oh, no. Swine wouldn't want that. He'd do bad things to you. Last time we had someone snooping around, they left this camp with a limp.
Say, what does Swine like drinking?
Swine don't drink.
Does he smoke?
Swine don't... First guy like Swine don't smoke, and then the other guy's like, he used to smoke, and they all kind of laugh.
Okay.
Someone set him on fire. Yeah.
We'll meet you back here. You're nice people. We wouldn't want to see anything bad happen to you too. As long as you're off the property, you'll be okay. They'll just yell at you, or maybe they'll fire a warning shot.
Oh. Okay. So we'll see you back here after supper. That's what? 6 o'clock? 7 o'clock?
Supper's at 4, and the revival will be at 5 or 5:30.
All right. Say, can you boys do anything? Can you carry a tune or juggle or anything special?
I can scrape iron off the lake bed. I can carry a lot of weight.
Ah, strong man. I love it. We'll have to find something for you to carry. And she's trying to pull something out of each of them, like some strength or individuality.
Like all of their answers are like linked into their work.
Mm-hmm. Cool. She's gonna be like, and we're gonna have you breathe fire, and you're gonna be the strong man.
This
Trying to put
this
together a
revival is
circus.
starting to feel a lot like a circus. Is that
Well,
what a real revival is supposed to be like?
We think revival should be fun and make you feel alive again. Do you feel alive when you go to the other revival meeting?
Yeah, I feel alive. I definitely feel alive. I'm glad I'm not in the bad place.
Do you feel happy to be alive?
Yeah. It's better to be alive than to be dead.
Fair enough. Well, let's be happy to be alive in a new way tonight.
Okay, then. It's probably been like 20 minutes. Whoever is like doing the work of 3 people is probably, one of them finally realizes, we gotta get back to work. It was nice. It's nice meeting you all.
See you tonight.
We'll be there. And they scramble back off to the cast house.
After they leave, Tati's gonna be like, damn, I was hoping they would like let us sneak in or something.
I don't know. They seem pretty wrapped around that preacher's finger.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell them that raising hell is more fun than being scared of it. I think that would have scared them off.
Yeah.
All right. Back to our investors. What would you like to look at first?
Well, I don't know about first, but I would like to see if we can get ourselves into the blast furnace cast house area without looking like we're too eager to get to the blast furnace cast house area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably start with I would say probably do kind of like a tour of like the process from beginning. So like go to like the boats or the area where they store the boats and kind of see some equipment that they use to dredge and then
Right. The boats are all out right now. They're out on the lake. They'll be coming in tonight. Maybe tomorrow you can go out and try your hand at fishing. But I can take you to the mill. That's where the ore is crushed.
wonderful, wonderful.
And as we kind of walk along and pass by different things, going to kind of look around, and when we get near where they were casting repair parts and stuff, say, you make everything on site, then? All of the
I am
tools
wrong,
and materials
everybody.
you
The
need.
smithy is where the iron ore is crushed. What happens? I was right the first time. The mill is where the mill is. Yeah, the smithy is where they're doing repairs, but the smithy is also where the iron ore is crushed. So keep going, Ernst. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You manufacture all of the equipment that you use here. You're self-sufficient, correct?
There's very little that we buy from anybody outside. The
Vertical
boss,
integration, good sign. I give a nod to Alexander.
the boss hates paying for things.
Most frugal.
So he takes you to the smithy where there is, again, a small furnace. People are working on repairing things. But there is, inside the smithy, he shows you from a safe distance, just a large water-powered stamper. And it's just busting ore up into smaller pieces. A couple of ore boys are in there. And they are separating out what is clearly useless slag, and the ore that has valuable minerals in it gets put into a different, put on a different belt that feeds a couple of carts that other ore boys start wheeling back and forth between the smithy and the blast furnace. We run this as long as there's ore to crush. And because the boss is very keen on protecting our stuff, we always make certain that there are people on guard.
Of course, that is very practicable. I'll just look around. Is there anything that looks special, unique?
Yeah, roll investigation.
Not to me.
Nothing you see leaps out at you. It looks like an awful lot of industry to you. You've been inside a mill or two, whether it's a woolen mill or a grain mill or whatever. This registers as machinery that makes sense. There's nothing overly complicated here.
Okay.
From here, the ore gets moved on to the blast furnace.
Ooh, wonderful. I assume that is where the magic happens.
Sure. Walking over the smithy is already hot, but as you move closer to the blast furnace, it's rock and mortar. It is just this, it's a cube shaped building, and it's been hot, but as you get closer to the blast furnace, that heat is intense. And most of the work is done outside of the blast furnace. Some work is done inside. You can see that there is a what's called a charging hole, where two of the ore boys are scrambling up, feeding coal and charcoal into it. At the base, you can see that there are some ore boys who are working on like the bellows. But this is a heat that is unlike anything, Edward and Ernst, that you have felt in your lives. So much so, you've got to make a force test to try and keep yourself where you are at, lest you literally just fall back because of the heat. Ernst knew this was coming.
Yep. I don't suppose that Tatiana's cooling tea from yesterday would give me any kind of...
Yeah, sure. Give yourself an advantage on that, sure.
You are most kind.
It was a compelling... An advantage is 2 dice, so roll one more.
Oh, okay.
It was a neat idea, and I like neat ideas. All right, so Edward, you're walking forward, and it's Ernst has hit like this glass door, and you just stop. It's like this is quite hot, and Swine kind of looks back at Ernst and kind of, it's real men who can handle this kind of heat.
I agree, Swine.
And Ernst breaks character for a second, but I kind of come back. Not used to this heat in the office.
That's okay. We'll press on. All right. So I've kind of described to you pretty much everything. You're watching ore boys shoveling crushed iron ore into its hearth. There is charcoal and limestone that's being fed in as well. There are men working the bellows. The bellows are getting their power from that water wheel, but you can see it. There are ore boys who are checking it, making certain that the amount of air that's coming in is the proper amount. And what the ore boys are doing a lot of is feeding stuff into it. And at one point, they tap the furnace, and this just line of red hot iron, molten iron, just shoots out of it and makes its way out of the furnace, you suspect, to the cast house. And a couple of ore boys are kind of talking to each other on the bellows, and you can all of a sudden, with a ferocity that you hadn't expected, haven't seen yet, you hear Swine. What's his catchphrase? There's his catchphrase. It says, "Back to work, worms, or you'll taste the flames!" And the two ore boys oh, and then redouble their efforts on working their bellows. And then he goes back to that same almost stoic Swine that you've known for the day that you've met him.
It will be great to get your expertise as well, Swine. Yes. Your way of motivating these men is quite grand.
You just yell at them. And every once in a while you have to readjust their attitude.
And that is what that's what many of these more young, hip people tend to forget is proper discipline and motivation.
It's the Utes.
And Edward kind of looks at the fire. He wants to look at the fire.
Ah, you are looking at the fire. Interesting.
Yeah, just like,
So you saw coming up that this fire was just naturally hot coming out the top of the furnace, and in here, I mean, you passed your force test, but Edward, it's ripping hot in here. We're talking NASA re-entry hot. Like you're like, this is the hottest I've ever been in my life. And you're now in the presence of the actual blast furnace. And I'd love for you to make a learning check as you look at this fire.
God damn it.
You're the right person for the job. You're here.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
What you can tell is that it's clear to anyone's eye that the flame itself, while like yellow-orange up above, is just pure blue. Almost that really cool, like, electric blue down here in the furnace. And Swine says, "We keep that fire going day and night. Boss says it's the secret sauce."
Wonderful. How do you get it to such a azure luminous?
We feed it charcoal and coal.
Magical. And he'll walk back and try to get Sten. Then be like, "Sten, my good sir, my good boy, come here. You must see this flame. It is amazing."
Of course. And a mechanical question
Yes.
here. That failed force test.
Yeah.
Is that posing me kind of a barrier? Go, oh, I should not go past this. Can I kind of push myself in there? I imagine I'm risking some kind of injury if I continue closer.
Or like a physical condition.
Yes.
You know what? If you want to push yourself into the thing, let's do one more force test.
Okay.
And I have a thing in my brain.
Okay.
I have a thing in my brain. So go ahead and do a force. Oh, I saw that 6 for just a half second. Okay, you push yourself in. But it's, like I said, it's NASA hot. And you kind of walk yourself into this.
Can I try to like get him extra dice to roll with a manipulation roll?
We're just gonna do this. Ernst is committed.
Ernst is fighting through. A lot of what you're thinking about as you walk into this furnace, Ernst, is it's just hot. That's dominating a lot of your CPU right now. It's just hot. It's hot. It's really hot. I hate this. 1 minute I'm freezing, next minute I'm evaporating away. Are my eyebrows gone? Right? That's the sort of thing that's going on with Ernst right now. But you walk in and you see all those things I described to Edward, including this flame, which I suspect Edward is like, look at this.
Yeah. So I would like, really what I'm trying to do is fish for my sixth sense here.
Of course.
So I want to be poking around, looking at everything, and I've got, limited knowledge of industry.
Yeah.
I am fighting this distracting heat.
Yes, you are.
So I am out of my element, but I would really like to try and figure out what here is mundane, what here is magical.
And that's your investigation, right?
Yep.
So because this heat is so oppressive and occupying a chunk of your CPU, we're going to make this, instead of having you try to take away dice, I'm just going to add successes.
That seems fair.
This is going to be challenging just to equate with the idea that you've got to try and push through the heat mentally to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, okay. Let's roll this stuff. Yeah, I am going to push this.
This is where the hot's coming from.
And let's see. I'm going to be frightened of whatever can produce a heat this scorching.
That's such a
and
good
the
idea.
notion that we are going to likely have to face it to resolve what's going on.
Oh, look
That's
at
three.
you go.
Oh.
The realization that comes across you is both exhilarating and frightening, right? You are frightened about this idea. A lot of things ping at the same time. Ding, 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 ding. And of course, your spidey senses tingle, right? So the first thing that you're getting is that this a blue flame, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. There's something that is, by the way, the source of your spidey senses. That ain't right.
Yep.
Second, two more, because well, I made it a challenge 2. You got a 3, so that's technically 2 things. Do you want to? I'll give the choice to you. Do you want a short-term ping, or do you want a ping from the past?
Oh, let's do a ping from the past.
Outstanding. You flash back to your dream. The fires that were fueling the furnaces, the pots. I'm sorry, the big cauldrons. The fire that was fueling those cauldrons comes back into your mind alive, fresh and anew. Right? And then the moment that you turned around to that maw that blasted you, it was the same color. You're looking at what was in that dream. That color, that ferocity, that heat.
Okay. I am kind of visibly shaken, just dripping with sweat here.
Your friend looks
And-
like he should probably leave now.
Oh, yes.
Do you need help?
No, I have him. And I will assist Ernst.
Yeah,
Still keeping up my bravado, but I'm still being tender to my friend.
Okay.
yeah, I am a little bit dazed, but kind of take Alexander's lead.
And as you
And-
walk out of the blast furnace, Swine all of a sudden perks up and he looks around like something has just pinged his radar. And you kind of follow his gaze and you see about 5 ore boys running back to the cast house. And they're kind of like hunching and running, like hopefully nobody will see them. And
God, they're doing Skyrim stealth.
and and Swine sees them and it's like, "Oi, you boys, where have you been?" And he just funk, funk, funk. And then he's like 5 strides away, he turns around, he's like, "Don't go anywhere." And then he turns back around and funk, funk, funk off into the cast house to intercept the 5 guys who...
Oh, fuck.
And after he's out of sight and we're in probably what seems to be a quite refreshing environment in this summer heat, in comparison, it's like, I have never seen a blast furnace burn blue.
And this is where I'm going to describe the dream from last night. The maw, the fire, the imps, all of it, and that something unnatural is in there. That is quite literally where the magic happens. August was not being figurative. That blast furnace is... It's either where our Vaesen is, or it has been heavily touched by that Vaesen.
So you saw a giant maw. Would you describe it as... I think this is my boyhood fantasies coming in. As draconic, maybe?
I give a visible shudder. I would.
Do you seriously think these people are stupid enough to mess with a dragon?
I believe they are. The gold eyes, the flame, and I double, triple check to make sure that there's nobody in earshot, and I silently thank the fact that we've got the ore stamper on hand. And even so, I drop my voice to a lower whisper. While you were talking with August in the parlor there, our friend the preacher walked by, and she had a gold medallion that she was constantly running her fingers over. I don't know exactly what the connection is, but it must be connected to our, and I hesitate to say it, but dragon.
I hope this isn't what it is. I am quite confident in my own fighting abilities, but I do not think we have the ability to combat a dragon.
If this is the beast that the villagers raised an army to fight, we may have to raise an army and start a flood in the middle of a drought.
Sorceress.
A body tumbles out of the cast house and sort of staggers to its feet, and swine strides out, and it was just for a couple of minutes, and he kind of puts his hands up, and swine just effortlessly with the back of his hand knocks one of these guys down again, and he roars at him. If you ever leave your post again, you ever leave your work again, I don't care what you saw, I don't care how cool it was, I swear I'll feed you to the flames, I will personally dunk you in the furnace. And picks him back up and throws him again, which of course is silly because it's just going to knock him, back down the ground. And as he throws him, and the ore boy falls around, he says, "Get up!" And he goes over and picks him up and throws him back towards the cast house again. "I said, get up!" And picks him up, and the ore boy is like, "I promise, boss," and then hurries back into the cast house. And he lurks over at you two, Edward and Ernst. He kind of looks at you for a quick second, but then he looks off of he doesn't look at any of the buildings. He kind of looks off in the distance, off beyond the cast house. And you two sort of look off in the distance. It's not like there's anything that you can see right away. But as Swine is looking off into the distance, that takes us to Tatiana and Trij. We've got a little bit of time. We're going to try and do a little bit of a time jump, but over the next couple of hours before it's supper time. What is it that you two are doing?
Tatiana is doing something that we haven't seen in a couple of chapters.
Uh-oh.
Which is asking Trij for advice. and being like, should we say we had a change of mind and we want to see Beta's presentation? Should we just... I don't know. What do you think we should do?
There's something weird going on. I mean, we put on a heck of a show, and those guys still would rather be screamed at by that beta lady. I mean, part of me says don't go because we could be bewitched, but part of me is like, damn, she must be a hell of a performer.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I want to do, and I know you're going to say it's stupid and not to do it, is we could go to the lake and try to summon the sorceress and bring the rain.
That sounds like fun too.
And then we wouldn't be getting them in trouble. And then I could talk about raising hell and all of the pagan rites that everybody looks down on. But
You know, it's been a long time since I've gone to a good old-fashioned summoning.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like this is the type of thing Edward would tell me that I'm being a little too extra.
Put my hand on Tati's shoulder. Tati, don't ever stop being you. Do what you feel is right in your heart. As long as you're not murdering too many people. You got my support.
I mean, blood sacrifice can just be from our palms. We don't have to actually kill a goat or anything.
Yeah, not this time.
I just don't want to get those poor boys into too much trouble.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of too. I mean, they definitely act like they really are counting on this job.
Yeah. I just don't think I could go to that beta lady's presentation without just walking up and smacking her in the face. But if you want to go, that's fine. We can go.
Heck no, I want to go summon a water wench.
Beta's got pretty good close combat. This would be a good fight, Tatiana. That'd be cool.
It would be. Tatiana does not have good close combat. But she can cut her hand open with a knife. That's not going to be too challenging.
So, are you going to the lake?
With Trish's stamp of approval, she will begin working on creating her summoning kit.
Outstanding. So, let's go back to Edward and Ernst. We have a little bit of time before dinner. If there is a scene, potentially one more location or whatever, we can definitely fit that in.
I think we need a scene of rest at this point. We both suffered a condition.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Outstanding. Back at the director's office?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Let's see here. Yeah. Back at the drawing room. You take a moment to have a seat. The butler brings you refreshments. It's nice in here, obviously. And as you're sitting, since you're not having an active conversation with August, he is not in the room. You have not seen August since he left you. As you're sitting, taking a drink, having that moment of rest, once again, the image of Beta Gideonstoder makes her way into the door. This time she's looking at both of you. And she's going to try to read you.
Oh.
Okay. She says to you, just as the weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers. And they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And she turns on her heel. But before that happens, both of you hear these words. And you see her. But she's also manipulating this medallion. And both of you are not only like realizing that maybe she's kind of scolding you out a little bit, but you also start to find that you're fixating on that medallion. Like, it's real pretty. It's quite alluring, I might say. So much so, I would like you to both roll your own observation checks, please.
Very well. I don't suppose that this can be helped by my preparation into Beta's tools of the trade, as it were.
Oh, was this your advantage?
It was.
Yeah, do it. Absolutely.
Okay. Not that it helped. You know what? It's time for Ernst to get angry.
Yes, let's go.
How dare this woman try and put the whammy on me?
Yep. You, Edvard, strong of mind and military discipline, recognize the folly, maybe even your time with your wife. You recognize the folly of money and profit, and the like, and you are able to take your mind off of that medallion quite quickly. And Ernst, for a brief moment, have to summon up some of that emotionality, because you, very much like your dream, felt for a brief moment like reaching out towards that medallion. But then, how dare she? And she spins on her heel and storms away. All right. To the lake. The lake is only a few hundred meters from the ironworks. The creek flows into the lake. It is a vast lake with very sandy beaches, lined with what's left of a pine tree forest. There are some rowing boats and some large rafts on the beach. Brown rocks, and what looks like debris piles. Tailings is the word that I would use from my old geology days. Not slag, but tailings. The lake itself, as you remember from the map, is roughly oblong in shape. It's like 4 kilometers long. It's about 1 kilometer wide. It's surrounded by woods. The water is brown, and I think that's... I don't think you know that the ore boys scraped from the bottom of the lake, or did Alfred mention that last time?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think that's something Edward and Ernst learned today.
So again, and then you see the boats are kind of close to you. A little bit further down the beach are a series of tents.
How far down the beach?
It's a walk. Couple.
Would they hear her invoking hell?
Who's they?
Whoever is in the tents.
You don't readily see anybody.
Okay, good.
You're walking to the tents?
No. Tatiana's ritual involves Tatiana and Trij anointing themselves with some of the herbs into their hair. And ritualistically, they're walking in the creek, so through the water.
Mm.
And I did not prepare Trish for this because I did not anticipate this happening this episode. But as they're going, she'll cut into her palm, probably the already fucked up hand, and squeeze a couple of drops in, and then kind of turn for Trish to do the same so that they're alternating blood drops into the creek going into the lake as they're walking towards it. And she's going to sing, "Young blood run like a river, young blood never get chained, young blood heaven need a sinner, you can't raise hell with a saint." And she's just singing "Raise Hell," and it's all about blood and raising hellfire and run like a river and all sorts of just lovely things. And she's just trying to invoke the spirit of whatever is in the water.
Yeah. So you're walking through the creek.
Yep.
And you're in the water. It's quite shallow. The creek is quite shallow. And as you walk out where the creek opens up into the lake, you keep walking. And you find that the lake itself is quite shallow. Like, you're walking 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters out into the lake. And the lake has really only come up to, like, midway up your calves, maybe?
Okay.
And so you're singing this, and you're is there anything that you're doing with your hands, your arms, or whatever? Are you kind of dancing as you do this?
Oh, she's probably getting into it, and then probably trying to like join her cut palm with Trij's as they dance around.
Yeah,
I don't know how much Trij is.
I'll definitely lead the dance like a true gentleman.
Nothing is happening with the tents as you walk through the creek and you're going into the lake and you're looking over the tents. Are they seeing me raise Cain? And there's no activity out there. Everything else is as I described. And nearly 50 meters out into the lake, for a brief moment, the sun like disappears. Like a brief shadow like blocks out the sun.
Dragon.
And you're both kind of like dancing and singing, but this momentary like loss of the sun like snaps you out of it. You both kind of look up into the sun, and you're both squinting, and you put your like hands over your eyes to see what it is up there. I would like both of you to make a vigilance test, please.
Okay. Trish is having too much fun and does not notice shit.
Got it. It's large and it's fast, Tatiana. It's moving through, already past you, already making its way down the lake. It's you had a hard time just trying to track where it was. You're having a difficult time tracking where it is, but your eyes make, as you're trying to catch up to this thing, whatever it was in the sky, it was enormous. It blotted out the sun, and it's already gone around what appears to be some type of a bend on the lake. And as you're starting to say to yourself, that's weird, you and Trij hear what sounds like an eruption or an explosion. Just there's a... And from that distance, in that direction, all of a sudden you start to hear very faintly screams. Men screaming. And then there's another... and more men screaming. And then off in the distance, Tatiana, because you know roughly where to look, whatever this thing is, it's moving unbelievably fast. Like you know how to track a big Vaesen before. You had the big raven that you were tracking last autumn, but this thing's just moving way too fast for you to put like an idea of what it is exactly. But all you know, and all that Trish knows now, is there is screaming coming from the lake down and around a corner. Ernst and Edvard, it sounded like maybe something backfired. It sounded like maybe there was a I don't know, firework going off or something. But as you're sitting in the villa, you hear steps frantically coming down the staircase, and you see coming through August frantically readjusting his coat, and he's got his lantern in his hand, and he runs outside, and you follow him. He starts yelling, "Something has happened at the lake! We need people at the rafts! We have to go now!"
We can render assistance.
He's already out.
And I'm assuming
Edvard and Ernst, you two look at each other. What do you do?
I am going to move to follow.
All right. So, Edvard, you too? Or are you going to stay?
Edward grabs Ernst's hand and says, "Ernst, this might be our opportunity to investigate the manor."
I nod
Definitely
sagely
distracted.
and slowly make our way back up.
Edvard and Ernst make their sneaky pact. Tatiana and Trish, off in the distance, you start to see a plume of smoke emerging from around the bend in the lake. And we will find out what our two parties are going to make of this opportunity, question mark, in our next episode. Episode 4, Fireheart. Seasons of Mysteries, everybody. We will see you then.
What the fuck did we just
Thank
do?
you for going to the lake! Yes! Yes!
What did we do?
Amazing things.
I'm so excited.
Either that or this was going to happen either way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it was going to happen eventually in some capacity.
Like, I don't think you summoned the dragon.
I think we might have woke him up.
No, but they got front row seats.
They did.